No matter how short or long your novel is, it's bound to have a beginning, middle, and end. It would violate the laws of physics if it didn't. Given this inevitability, where should you, the writer's focus be? Is it enough to have a good ending? Can you get away with some laziness in the middle? Is it really crucial that you nail the beginning? Of course, the logical answer here is that every section of your novel should be the best that it can be. But you have limited energy and limited time. So given that, what section is the most important? What matters most, the beginning, the middle, or the end of your novel? I don't know that we're going to answer that today, but I'm going to muse about the topic for 6 to 10 minutes. I'm going to go through my thoughts on this, but please let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Let's start with the most logical part, the end. That's right, it's breakfast or supper day. Or I guess technically supper for breakfast day, I suppose. I think if you just queried random people on the street, most would say that the ending of a story matters the most, and I can see some reasons why people would think that way. I mean, the only reason you read a book is for the ending, right? It's when the entire story comes together, the plot threads resolved, the conflict gets solved, characters get shipped, the ship sinks. But is a good ending enough to the point that it becomes the locus of your focus? I'm inclined to believe that the ending is perhaps a little less important than might initially be thought. First off, if you have a really great ending but a lackluster beginning and a boring middle, by the time the reader gets to the ending, they're unlikely to care. Or they'll stop reading before they even get to the ending. An ending is likely not going to be enough to salvage a story with a weak beginning and a weak middle. And as far as bad endings go, while they are a problem, I don't know that they're ultimately the end of the world. If I really like a novel, even if it ends really well, I'm still going to be a little bit disappointed because a novel I really liked has reached its ending and there's no more of it to read. Yes, it's going to feel bad if the ending sucks, but I'm already going to feel a little melancholic because I've reached the end of a novel that I like. I think all of this gives the writer a little bit of cover. So long as you don't completely bomb the ending, you will probably be fine. If the reader can move through a beginning and middle that keeps them engaged, they'll likely be okay with an okay ending. Next up, the middle. When it comes to sections of a novel, the middle really got the short end of the stick. Or maybe the middle end of the stick? The middle doesn't have the intrigue or novelty of the beginning. It doesn't get people hooked. They should already be hooked by the time they get to the middle. Nor does the middle have the impact of the ending, the big reveals, the identity of the murderer, characters riding off into the sunset, happily ever after, until you sell out and write a sequel. And the worst part is the reader knows this. They know that the story is not going to end in the middle. They know that it's not going to end when there's 200 pages left. They know there's quite some time before any of their questions get answered. And that makes the middle this annoying middle ground between the novelty and intrigue of the beginning and the excitement and resolution of the ending. Of all the parts of a novel to write, the middle is probably the hardest. I can guess with nearly absolute certainty that a lot of the scenes you want to write in your novel happen either at the beginning of the novel or at the end. I mean, middles are so bad that the cat ran away when I started talking about middles. That's how bad they are. The middle, at its worst, is just a bridge between an engaging beginning and an exciting ending. And it's for this reason that you should not neglect it. Putting in some extra effort to really create a sense of progress through the middle of your story is definitely worth it. This part of the narrative is referred to often as the rising action, and that's what it should do. There should be a gradual buildup of intensity from the inciting incident of the story all the way up to the climax at the end. Doing that is tricky, but it definitely pays off, because if the reader doesn't get through the middle, they won't get to the ending. I can't say that the middle is the most important part of a story to get right, but it is the part that tends to have the most problems and also the one that can be hardest to get through in an engaging way. All of that means that, yeah, you should probably put a little bit of focus on the middle. Let's end with the beginning. I think there's a strong argument that the beginning of a novel is the most important. As they say, first impressions last a lifetime, and the beginning of your story is the reader's first impression of it. Well, beyond like the cover and the Amazon blurb and the foreword and the preface and the frontispiece table of contents. I guess there's a lot of stuff before you get to the beginning. But the beginning is where the reader will learn if this is a story that they will be interested in. You need to introduce characters in a setting that are engaging. You need to establish the status quo of the world that you're writing in, and you need to build up to the inciting incident which launches the conflict of the story. While it's possible to work past a bad ending, and most readers expect the middle to suck anyway, if your beginning really doesn't work, then your novel is likely going to have some problems. The beginning needs to start quickly, but not too quickly, but you also don't want to start too slow. You don't want to overload the reader with information, but you also want to make sure that there's enough information that they can start learning the ins and outs of the characters and the setting, and that they're not going to be bored. The beginning carries a lot of weight, and that's why of these three parts, if I had to pick the most important one to focus on, I would say that it is definitely the beginning. But that's just my opinion. You can let me know in the comments if you have a different opinion. I don't know why I have to ask for that. People will tell me I'm wrong in the comments even without me asking. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video and found the advice in it useful. If you want to see more stuff like this, you can check out all my other writing advice related videos and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.